Welcome to another edition of Motion Live, everybody. Hey, I'm Morris Lilienthal. I'm excited because one of my favorite subjects to talk about is sports, and I am nose deep and up into basketball right now with my son, and I'm loving talking basketball. And some of the best shows and favorite shows I have are talking high school sports, and that's what we're going to be talking about today here on the Mo Show Live. You know, one of the great things that I love talking about sports, and one of the things that I think I had the privilege of playing sports in high school and college is all the lessons that I learned and the things that it taught me about teamwork, dedication, and hard work, and motivation and resiliency. And these are some of the things we're going to be talking about today, and also going to be talking about some other things coming up with Spencer Beaty, my friend from Maryville College, who is the head basketball coach at Carter High School in Knox County, Tennessee. And we're talking to Spencer about his team. We're going to be talking about the upcoming Coaches versus Cancer game and a lot more today. And Spencer, thanks so much for taking time and having some of your guys join us today. How are you doing?
Hey, we're great, Mo. Thank you so much for having us excited about sharing this time with you today.
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for you, and you guys are off to a great start. I want to talk to you about that a little bit. And before we kind of get started, folks, if you're watching the show live and you've got questions for Coach or the team, or you want to give a shout out or something, just pop into the comments below here on the live video, and I'll be watching the comments over there, and we'll try to get to those questions or shout outs. And if you're watching the recorded version right now, you've got questions or want to leave feedback, please jump in and do that. We'll watch the comments after the recording is done, and we'll jump in and try to give you some feedback or information on the back end. So Spencer, why don't you do this, Coach? Why don't you kind of go around and give us a quick introduction of who you got with us today?
Absolutely. So I've got my 5 seniors with me today, and of course my mini-me, my son here. To my right here is Gabe Harper. He's a starting senior point guard, has been a starter in our program for the last 2 years. Of course, my son here, Wesley, he steps in and helps out and goes through practice or helps on the bench during the games when he's able. Over here to his left is my starting 2 guard, is Braden. He has also been the starting lineup for us for 2 years. To my right is Ty Hurst. He's our starting 3-4. He runs the 3-4 sometimes he runs the 4. Back behind me, a newcomer to our program, but also a senior, Jaden Stam. He runs the 5-4 for us as well. And then Preston McNew, over behind me to my right, is also another senior that has been in the starting lineup for us at the 5 spot.
Well, good deal, guys. Thank you guys for taking the time to join me. I'm looking forward to kind of talking to you guys today, learning more about your team and learning more about this Coaches versus Cancer game coming up at the end of the month. Coach, kind of tell us a little bit for people that may not be familiar with Carter High. Tell us a little bit about your school, the classification, the conference, just a little bit more background to give us some reference on what kind of basketball and where the school's located.
Sure, Mo. First of all, let me say, I just want to thank God and Jesus for the opportunity to be here, to be a part of these young men's lives, to be a part of this community, to give us the opportunity to just try to reach out and help others that are in need or just that can use an extra hand. And we're just trying to use our platform to do that, whether it's walking down the hallways or Coaches versus Cancer or by our example on the floor. A little bit about Carter High School, erected in 1915, obviously, so just 4 years ago, we celebrated 100 years. We are located just in the east side of Knoxville, a small community by the name of Strawberry Plains, a very tight-knit, close community of great people, of great young men and women that love sports, that love supporting their school, and it's just the great thing that I love about it. It's very like home where I grew up. We're not real big. We're on the outskirts of everything. Where we are blue collar, we believe in hard work, and we believe in getting our hands dirty and working hard to get what we earn. And so we have about 830, 835, 840 as far as numbers go for our kids in our school. We are 9 through 12, and we're AA basketball. And so play in a very good district in a very tough region. And so by no means do we have any gimmies on the schedule.
Yeah, yeah. So y'all are a 2A school. So coach, how many guys do you have on the varsity team? And I assume you guys have like a JV. I get so lost. It's so different. I went to a small 1A high school here in Alabama, and all we had was for basketball, we'd have a varsity team, a B team, and so how does that break down for you guys at Carter being a 2A school?
We have a total of, I believe it's 26 in our program. We have 13 that dress the varsity. A few of those guys actually dress JV, where we run about 12 on a JV program, and then we run about 12 in a freshman program. So we have some guys that are pulling triple duty. They dress freshman, JV, and varsity. And so, but we've got a really good number within our entire program, and the future looks really good for us.
Well, that's great. That's great. And I think it's great that there's more diversification in having those teams to allow the player development and allow guys to get more time on the court as they become, some guys because of their skill level or because of the size or because of the types of athletes you may have at that particular year may be able to come in and start earlier, play more varsity earlier. But other guys, they may need a little bit more development, and having the ability to have that JV and ninth grade teams allows you to do that. And it doesn't mean they're not a good player and won't be able to start at JV or play a lot of time at varsity, at some other time. So I think that's great that you guys have that ability even at a small school. Coach, talk to us a little bit about your philosophy. And I know that may change a little bit based upon your roster and types of kids that you got that year or two. But if we come out to watch a Carter High basketball game, what can we expect to see from a defensive and offensive philosophy? Are we running and gunning? Are we setting up and bringing the ball down and setting it up a lot? What are we expecting to see?
Well, I would like to think, as far as my philosophy goes with any team, it requires no skill to give maximum effort and to sit down and guard somebody and to box out and rebound. And so we'd like to think that our number one offense is our defense. Now, sometimes, we have bust assignments, and that doesn't always work. But first and foremost is we want to get out and defend. We want to sit down and guard people, and we want to guard them the right way. And philosophy really defensively is we're going to guard all five with all five. And, offensively, that can change depending on personnel. When you got guys with high IQs and kind of want to get out of the way as far as the coach goes, and hopefully let them just sort of take the reins and go with it. And so when we get out and defend like we can, then these guys that can get out and run are able to do that. There will be some set plays, some transitional sets, some motion. If we've hit a lull and maybe we're having a little trouble scoring, or we want to get somebody hot, or somebody has gotten hot, we want to get them a touch. But ideally, you'd like to let the guys offensively just sort of space the floor and have good motion on the floor and let their skill set sort of just take over on the offensive end. So, but we're a mixture. We're a mixture when we're running and attacking the rim, then I can hopefully get out of the way and let them go. But time to time, we have to settle them down a little bit and get us all on the same page.
Well, that's good. I was talking a couple of months ago, I guess it was, with Coach Schulman, the new coach here at UAH, our Division II team, and they've been ranked as high as number 6 in the country this year in Division II. And I was asking him kind of about that, and he said, everybody can play defense. It's all about, busting your tail and getting out there and working hard and doing. The offense may be a little different based upon your skill set, but he says, when I'm recruiting, I'm looking for somebody with an offensive skill set because it's more inclined, because I can teach them or I can make them play defense, or you can work towards that playing defense. It's a lot about effort and hustle. And that's kind of what I'm reading in the lines to hear you saying. And if you're going to get out there and defend the ball, if you can keep the score down and create some turnovers, that's going to create some offense for you to start with. Coach, tell us a little bit about this year's team. Talk to us a little bit about, I know we introduced the senior system a minute ago. Talk to us a little bit about how the season's going. I think you guys are off to a good start from what I understand. And talk to us a little bit about, I know you got a game coming up tonight. Kind of talk to us about this year's team and kind of what we're looking like so far this far into the season.
Yeah, absolutely. We return, 4 seniors, and of course Jaden came in with us this fall. All 4 seniors have been in the starting lineup at least since I've been here, and we are very capable of all of our seniors being able to hurt you on any given night. So I love the fact. I mean, we're very close to averaging 4 guys in double figures each night. That can make you a difficult guard, and they all understand what it takes. They understand the expectation and the standards. We got off to a good start. I think we started 4-0 or something like that. Went over to Farragut, played a very good physical triple A team, and we dug ourselves a hole, and I think we ended up losing by 5. Got back on track. Then went over to Union County, a district game, and really struggled. And they did a good job doing what they do, and we didn't do a very good job doing what we do. And so we came up short there. And then I can't recall. I mean, our last loss, Walker Valley, which was over Christmas break. But our guys understand and know that when we come with the correct energy and the right mindset, we're a pretty good basketball team. We play 2 very good basketball teams in Kings Academy and Grace Christian. And we came out and played the way that we were capable of playing and was able to take care of business. And so, we don't want to, as much as we'd like to be playing our best basketball right now, we hope to be playing our best basketball at the end of February and just continue to turn losses into learning opportunities and just continue to get better each and every day with practice, with film study in the weight room, taking care of our business in the classroom. But yeah, we're definitely off to a good start. Have we had a couple of disappointing losses? Yes. The great thing about basketball is hopefully you can correct those in the postseason.
Coach, talk to us a minute about, because I know over the years, I know from my memory with high school sports, I know it's changed a lot here in Alabama. Know quite how it works up there, but with region and districts or whatever y'all call it there, how do you have to finish up to make it in, I guess, to the regional plays and then to states to get into the playoffs? What's kind of the makeup? How high do you have to be in your area or district to qualify for state tournament?
So, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty confident the top 4 in the district go to the region.
Okay.
So when you get out of the district tournament, so your number 1 seed and number 2 seed, at least for us, have a bye in the district tournament. So that automatically puts you in the semifinals of the district tournament, which automatically puts you into the region. So the top 4 out of the district tournament go to the region. Once you get into the region, you have to be in the finals. So you have to win the region or be the region runner-up to then either host a sub-state game, which is the Sweet 16.
Okay.
If you're if you lose the region final games, you travel and play in a Sweet 16 game. So, and then after the region in the sub-state, you have to win the sub-state game to go to the final or to the state tournament, which is the Elite 8.
Do they play that? I know football in Tennessee, y'all play that. I think it was at Murphy's. Is it Murphy's? No, Tennessee Tech or somewhere. It was somewhere in Middleton. Yeah. And I remember that when following that this past season. Where do y'all play the basketball at? Where does that play? Does that play at a central hub somewhere?
It is state tournaments in Murfreesboro.
Okay. Is that NTSU?
That is correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys continue to improve and get better and make it that far. I'd love to touch base with you and find out that you did. Coach, talk to me a minute about, but before we kind of turn to the Coaches versus Cancer game coming up in a couple of weeks, one of the things that we want to talk about. Curious a little bit about how often, are you playing and how often are you practicing? And, this time of the year, we're kind of getting in the meat of the season. Talk to us about, the guys' legs and endurance. I'm curious to see how that may have changed from maybe when you first started coaching years ago and doing to be mindful of making sure you got fresh legs as you get into the meat of the season here.
Well, it is January, and you would like to think most of your guys are understanding what you're looking for offensively and defensively. And when we start in November, we're a good 2.5 hours of practice. And I think all of them in the screen would probably agree that, yeah, I mean, it's clear cut. We're 2.5, especially when we're late. Now, when we go early, we have to cut it a little short. And because we have to cut it short, that's really another reason why we go a little longer when we're late. We're going into January. We'll cut it back to at least back to 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes. Once we hit February, we'll be an hour and a half, of course, and then you're going into district tournament time. And so we try to cut it back. And again, we're getting in the gym at this point now, making sure that we're getting shots up. 30-minute segment of shooting offensively, a good 15 or 20-minute segment of defense, and then just reviewing any of our offense. And if we want to put in a wrinkle or two as we get closer to district tournament play. So, yeah, we definitely try to cut back on the time as we get closer to district tournament and making sure that we're spending a couple days, 30, 45 minutes in the weight room to maintain what we've built up to this point.
You guys do a lot of film sessions still in basketball too. I know in football we do a ton of that. How much film are you able to watch going over past film with the guys from, and then future for scouting in terms of your upcoming points? How does that work a lot in today's high school basketball?
Well, for us, we try to spend some time watching film. I've tried to do a better job of really making them more accountable as I clip film, because time is so valuable. I clip film, we make notes, and I send that out to them, and then it's really their responsibility to view it. Then we have scouting report on game day, and we'll walk through some stuff that other teams' tendencies do. But we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. I mean, you got to defend a back screen or the ball screen. Doesn't matter who the team is. It's just how we're going to defend it. But we'll spend more time in the fall, in the beginning of the season, really studying us. And we spend that time filming a whole game. Once Christmas rolls around, then it's more about viewing clips, because we want to be mindful of the time that we spend, and we don't want the burnout. I mean, we've been going since August, so we want to spend quality time with film study and making sure that we're hitting the high points with the teams that we're going to play, but more importantly, worry about us and what we do.
Yeah. Well, I think what you might agree with this, I would think, is a lot of times the losses that you have. I mean, certainly we run up against opponents playing sports in high school and in college that they're just a better opponent. I mean, that's going to happen here and there. But a lot of times those games that you lose are more about what you did wrong versus what the other team did right. You just made mental errors or mistakes that night, or you just were off that night shooting or something, and that, if you came back, clean up those mistakes, you'd probably be able to be competitive or win that game. Folks, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Mo Show Live. We are talking to high school basketball coach Spencer Beaty. Spencer is the head coach at Carter High School in the Knox County, Tennessee area, and we've got his 5 seniors and his son here with us. Spencer, I know one of the things that we really wanted to touch on and highlight today was the Coaches versus Cancer game you've got coming up. I think it's on January 24th. And as I understand, this is an event nationally that's put on by the National Association of Basketball Coaches, and that I think high school and college coaches participate in, teams participate in this. And I know it's something that, all of us, unfortunately have been affected by cancer. Someone, a family member, a close friend that has been afflicted with this terrible disease. And I think it's great that your team is participating in an effort to bring awareness for the American Cancer Society and to help raise some money. Talk to us a little bit about the upcoming Coaches versus Cancer event, and tell us what we can expect if we come out to the game.
Well, I got into coaching about 16 years ago. I knew it was always something that I wanted to do. I didn't really have honestly a plan and an avenue of how I was going to do that. A good friend of both of ours, D. Bell, became the head women's basketball coach at Maryville College, and that's sort of how I got my foot in the door into coaching. He asked me to come on board as his assistant and was grateful in doing that. And a year after, I joined the men's side full time. And once I got involved with coaching, I joined the NABC. And prior to coaching, I was in social work. I just feel like I've got a heart that want to help people. And that's sort of where my heart led me when I first got out of college and went into work. And when I got involved with the NABC and got to know more about Coaches versus Cancer, I always knew that I wanted to get more involved, to do more, and not just be overly concerned about winning and losing. And I mean, I know we coach because we want to compete and we love competing and we want to win ball games. But my maker didn't make me a preacher. He didn't make me a deacon. He made me a basketball coach. And I feel like that's the stage that he gave me to try to reach out to help people. And with doing so, you know, I need to be that leader for my guys on my team, leader within our school and our community. And so for years now, I've sort of, well, I want to do this. I want to do this. And I didn't really feel like I was able to get a whole lot of help. And I said, look, you know, it's time for me to just do it and make it happen. And those that want to come on board will, and those that don't won't. And so last year I got involved with the NABC and our local chapter of Cancer Association. And we had a game and we did the suits and sneakers with the coaches. And we passed the bucket around halftime of the boys and girls games to help raise money. This year I sort of got ahead of it a little bit, and of course made that contact with you and just trying to just do whatever we can do, use our stage as a basketball program and as players and guys in our school and along in our hallways to try to just raise that awareness, because it affects everybody, and just try to do something bigger than who we are.
Well, I think that's so great. And I think, you know, first and foremost, obviously it's you're helping a great cause. There's no doubt, as you said, and I said, that we all know someone, or fortunately probably a lot of people in our lives that have been afflicted with this disease. And we've come a long way, but we certainly have a long way to go. We lose way too many people. Too many people suffer with the various types of cancer that are out there. But what I think is so great, Coach, is that you are really impressing upon your young men and your players and the other students at your school the importance of giving back and helping others. And no effort is too small. And the things that you can do. Why, you know, are you going to be able to cure cancer by this one basketball game, the funds you raise? Absolutely not. But what you can do can spread, and you can inspire someone else to do something. And you can inspire someone else to do something. I mean, Jimmy V's foundation started with just one speech, and now look at what it's grown to. And so, you know, the impression that you're making upon these young men and the other student athletes on your team and the teams that y'all are playing during these games is tremendous. And, you know, who knows that one of these young men might grow up to be the doctor that finds that cure. And they may have been inspired by something that you know, at first didn't seem like that, you know, that big of a deal, but it really is. And so I think that's awesome, Coach. I mean, what I read, Coach, was that since 1993, almost $100 million has been raised by the Coaches versus Cancer games around the country. That's pretty awesome. And it takes a team, literally, of teams and coaches around the country to do that. And you guys are now part of that. And that's truly, truly impactful. So tell us a little bit about that game. That is, I think, is that right? Am I right, Spencer? Is that going to be January 24th? And it's a home game, I assume. And you guys will, I guess you'll be in your suit, and then I guess you're going to have some sneakers on.
Yeah, we were hoping Moshe was going to send us some Jordans to suit us out, all of our coaches. So, but we're not going to be looking too hard. Well, I'll probably have to get out and pick some of those up. But yeah, January the 24th, be a very meaningful game. Be a game that we already dropped earlier in the season to Union County. So I hope it's packed. I expect it to be packed. The Carter Crazies will be out. Number one, for support, and number two, to raise as much money as we can. Be a very, very emotional game, a game that I know our guys have got marked on their calendar. They're looking forward to try to redeem themselves and sort of bounce back from what we showed when we went to Union.
Yeah. Well, I want to wish you guys good luck with this effort and doing, and just wait on those sneakers. They'll be coming soon. But in all seriousness, I think it's awesome that you guys are doing this, and the impression that you're making and the foundation that you're building for your school and for your players and for the other teams that are interacting each year in this event. I think it's tremendous. And, I think it's great. You guys got a little edge on you to play that game. And I think that, you guys will have a great game and get that comeback victory against a team it sounds like you probably want to get and need to get. And everybody come out to the game that night and bring your pom-poms and bring your checkbook or your cash to fill that bucket up. And, Coach, I want to wish you guys the best of luck. I want to wish you luck tonight. And folks, the last thing I want to encourage you to do, and I've done this when I've interviewed coaches and other folks for high schools and college coaches, is get out and support your local high school athletes and do. Even if you don't have a student playing anymore, if your children are grown and do. That's something like I mentioned, I don't know if I did that before the show or afterwards, Coach, but, my son and I went to a high school game a couple of nights ago, 2 games. I didn't know anybody on the court, but we had a ball. And it was great athletes getting out there, getting after it, and it got my juices flowing and doing. So get out. If you're in the Knox County area, get out, come support Carter and the rest of their season. Certainly come out for the Coaches versus Cancer game. If you have a Coaches versus Cancer event in your area, please support it. But any other night, get out and support them. And it's great, good entertainment, and a lot of young kids getting out there, getting after it. Coach, thank you so much for taking time for today. I wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you, Mo. Appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody.